for a while. Because, uh, I mean, these statements are still going to stand regardless, especially as time goes on, but just a summary of at least everything since September 10th. So people like JD Vance and Asman, the fact that they're using percentages and just throwing them out there without actually reading the freaking documents all the way through or understanding what they're saying or how the math even works does not help, clearly. And the fact that so many people are just so gullible on either side of the aisle. It's just everyone's kind of gullible for information right now because we're all entrenched in this stuff. So, some articles here that we referenced before. If I can clicky, there we go. So one called Strength in Numbers, people are more likely to support partisan violence when they think the other party does too. It's a great article. Definitely read through it. It's a good analysis that, I mean, it's true. It's true. And then there's also a video that we went over about someone else involved, which we'll find out more eventually. And the u.gov poll that I believe people are getting all these statistics from and then misrepresenting them. Because, I mean, we can see the trends. We can see who actually gives a shit and who doesn't. We can see all this other stuff, where the radicalization, where the pendulum is swinging, and how fast it's swinging back. Because, between this and the other statistics that we went over in other videos, I mean, it's just back and forth, man. It's not good. Especially with, I mean, people wanting more armed security should have had more armed security. There's been talk of this, and even between that, but also access to weaponry, right? And not even just that, but actually doing proper, maybe psychological testing or some sort of considerations, because no matter what, you're not going to be able to control what people really think. You can only control it through metaphors and stories, allegories, all that shit. You're not gonna really do anything else otherwise, and this is what it's a battle of ideologies. So, I mean, shit, there's a here and now, and a lot of the things that are just being said, they're just getting worse because, I mean, the people are just running out of shit to say at this point, I feel like. And I mean, yes, the Second Amendment is there to prevent what happened to the American colonies from happening again. But there's a reason why this says well-regulated militia. You can go, you guys can do this looking up for yourself. I'm not gonna fucking do it here. Oh my god. But giving more weapons to more people without making sure that these people aren't going to use them against other citizens all willy-nilly, because that's what's happening by the end of the day, especially kids, right? That is what it is. So we're giving guns to people prone to anger and reaction. I mean that's not well regulated, right? Having people with not a lot of experience with existence itself, with reality, with society, and all that other stuff, right? Even at like a college age, because that's when you're out of high school, you're out of your community, you're going to explore the world somewhere else, basically, with a bunch of other people from all different areas, depending on the type of school that you're going to and location, all that. So you're going to be, having human interactions with people that believe in different stuff. Okay? Doesn't make it radical and just all this back and forth between the whole religious aspects and stuff. And it's like, uh, Charlie was a false prophet in the eyes of people that look at all this sort of thing. I'm sorry to say, but people that actually believe in existence don't say those sort of things. Even if you don't agree with someone's sexuality, if you misinterpret the Bible or the text, this is literally like Old Testament versus New Testament. This is literally similar to what happened when Jesus was around. just, just going off the Old Testament, making the New Testament that was less violent, talking about, I guess being more woke, more leftist, similarly, and then the government didn't like that because it took away the fear aspect of things, and he got crucified. I mean, that's when you simplify things down, that's what it is. And what Charlie stood for was not it. Some things you can't agree with, but that's part of the posturing, right? That's part of the ego, that's part of the character. Is you're gonna have some things that you agree with. There's things that a lot of people agree with, like we breathe air, right? But there's a lot of nuances that get left out when we go look at certain discussions or certain events or certain incidents. And this is what happens. And when people don't take the time to do that, as my mouse just shuts off again, I literally keep switching out batteries. But I mean, clearly many people don't understand that word's definitions, and to speak so ignorantly, especially simply to compare vehicle deaths when people know damn well most vehicle deaths stem from being intoxicated or being irresponsible behind the wheel, right? It's just as ignorant to addressing the actual truths, well, to not addressing the actual truths behind these sorts of behaviors, right? So that's the issue. We're not addressing where these behaviors are really stemming from. Is it from people feeling betrayed that most of their lives they were thinking that things were one way and then they realized that they weren't? Or is it that they really just don't like how people are doing things and they feel like there's no other option, which is awful? But I mean, the reality is it's bad. And I mean, there should have been more security. There should have been someone looking at the roof, for one. And two, families need to probably be more involved with things, maybe more understanding, more empathetic, right? I think that would, in some discipline, we can't forget that discipline is important in some aspects of life, to have integrity, right? And I think that's where society is falling, is because there's simply no integrity or trust left in anything. Because even what I'm saying now is going to be subjected to, I mean, all sorts of different opinions, whether stupid or actually like intelligent or meaningful, right? And what people do is they ignore a part of one thing and they look at another. We get that. But at the same time, when having conversations and people are saying those things and then not having the humility or integrity to point out that, hey, maybe I fucked up, and then they just like keep posturing, keep throwing bullshit, keep riding the wave for whatever reason, whether it's to hide a past that you don't want anyone figuring out, or to not lose a following, you know? But at the same time, like, even with context, like, some things are just stupid and we gotta call it out for that. So, especially when people say that kids need to learn how to use weapons and that they shouldn't have weapons, right? Like, that's when things are just not working out, clearly. Clearly. Like, sure, if you want to, like, take them out hunting or do something else like that, yeah, but literally do not let them figure out how to access your weaponry or keep it somewhere else or something. Like, there needs to be regulation with that type of shit. Between that and psychological stuff, too. That's just two facts that actually should be addressed instead of saying that one side sucks and the other side sucks. Just it's annoying. And this is why I'm like totally done with this shit. So, I mean, not many people seem to want to understand the fact that, and the fact that should have been more security, especially on the roof. Be stating that solution to such violence. Someone too foolish to understand the hate they constantly preach of and towards others. Because that is what it is. Just because you don't like something doesn't mean you have to say the things that you said, like the way you did, because just being ignorant of certain aspects and nuances in order to create divisiveness in such a way as debating, because that a lot of that stuff really wasn't debating. No one was going to change his mind in the first place. It sucks, but that's just how it is. That's how this whole movement's been. It's like talking to a wall, you know? And it's sad, and it's like you want to get back to some common ground, but at this point you don't even know where that common ground is, because the ground's literally been nuked. So, I mean, genuinely the complete opposite of Jesus himself. As when we go through these statements, is where I'm just gonna end off. You can look at the context and everything else, but even then, some of these statements are just bad, you know, and it just needs to be called out for what it is. And it sucks that this happened, but I mean, this stupidity just keeps going and going and going in the name of either Jesus, God, or religion, or anything, man. And you're taking some truths, putting in with the arguments that just don't work. They just don't work. They worked for getting people to follow you, but they just don't. No one likes to hear the truth, right? I've already stated this before, so the fact that people keep taking Jesus' name in vain and God's name in vain without even taking a moment or caring enough to take the time to realize what they're saying, that's the sad part about all this. And it's annoying. So, there was a video and a couple of articles, or an article that YouTube, I'm not YouTube, friggin' well, there's a YouTube video and Yahoo thing, whatever. I'm not editing this out, sure. But that was interesting. Yahoo friggin' news still around, but divisive remarks that have been said. Because I mean, there's some that just really stick out to me, with or without the context, or both. It's like we made a huge mistake when we passed the Civil Rights Act in the 1960s. With the perspective of, I don't I don't even know how to rightfully make sense of this, but you can't, I can't. Oh my god. Another one, just fuck it, I'll just read them off. I think it's worth it. I think it's worth it to have a cost of, unfortunately, some gun deaths every single year so that we can have the Second Amendment. But, we know what guns do. It's whatever. I can't stand the word empathy, actually. I think empathy is a made up new age term that does a lot of damage. You really don't understand what Jesus was made for. You don't know what he was about, because that was literally part of his teachings, man. Not a true Christian. Black America is worse than it has been in the last 80 years. No. No. You guys are only making it worse now. The answer is yes, the baby would be delivered. I'm not giving the context of that one. I think you guys know what that one refers to. And that one's just, no, it's no. No. That is just traumatic. That's trauma on trauma for both the person involved and the person that's being forced to be involved. Which I guess you can look at it that way, but a man who calls himself trans is wearing a woman's face, no different than I would wear a black face trying to be a black person. It's assuming an identity that isn't yours. Even though Drewski really did a good whiteface, honestly, I'm not gonna lie. Um, we get it. People get sensitive over certain things, but there's a difference, obviously, between the B face and the T face, supposedly. Because, I mean, with context, you'd understand if you look up the history of that. And I mean, if people, obviously, if they're doing it just as comedy, you get both reactions when shit like that happens. And you only pay attention to one. So, whatever. But still, when it comes to trans, that's a whole friggin' process. It's not really reversible, man. That's it's a little different. I'd say a little different. Drag is, I guess you can say that, is wearing woman's face, if you wanted to be politically correct, but clearly you're just attacking people that want to experience a different reality. Which, I mean, scientifically, we're at that point now. And it's not hurting anyone, but the best thing to do is facilitate understanding, be like, you might screw up, you might not like this, etc. It's conversations, man, actual debate, not saying shit like this. Black women do not have brain processing power to be taken seriously. You have to go steal a white person's slot. That's just fucked up. No matter what the context is, that's just fucked up. This is something I hope that Taylor Swift will make Taylor Swift more conservative. He said, engage in reality more, reject feminism, submit to your husband. Taylor, you're not in charge. Look, even my lifestyle ain't like that, man. I don't even expect that. I expect some help, but that's fuck, man. You know, I get that they come from a specific culture and specific expectations, but even a lot of the time, people don't really live like that, and that's the misunderstanding. Gun control, like vaccines and masks, is focused on making people feel safe by taking freedoms away from others. Don't fall for it. Vaccines is a choice for most people. Some people need vaccines, or else they die. There's a reason why they exist. There's a reason why they work. They've worked for so long. But as with everything in life, there's a risk. Just, it is what it is. But at the same time, if you want to minimize other more dangerous risks, you take the smaller risk. It's kind of how life works if you want to survive for longer. And if you're against survival and people existing, then this is exactly the type of thing you probably want to believe in, which I don't condone at all. If I see a black pilot, I'm going to be like, boy, I hope he's qualified. I would say that about any pilot, really, because I don't want anyone crashing. But I'm not going to point that to one side. The stupid people, no matter the color of their skin, man. It's not how the human biology works, my guy. Democrat woman want to die alone without children. Doubt. Press X for doubt. Telling us how so many pastors were mad at George Floyd overdose, but don't care. A white woman was brutally murdered by a 14 count repeat offender. Mind you, people do care about that. I care about that. People shouldn't be getting out of jail at that point for a longer time. But that's not what anyone's paying attention to. They only pay attention to what they want to pay attention to. And you talk about pastors, I mean, there's a reason why they're trying to have empathy. So, now I'll say that for future retirees, people under the age of 45, we should absolutely raise the retirement age. I'm going to say something very provocative. I'm not a fan of retirement. I don't think retirement is biblical, he said. You say, Charlie, I'm just going to retire and I'm just going to go golf. I think what a waste of the gifts that God has given you. Except a lot of your friends probably do that and just go golf. Or at least there's a couple of friends that I know that like to go golfing a lot. But you know. In response, Kirk attempted to cite the Bible to prove a point about his anti-gay views, but he ultimately misquoted a mixture of passages. Mind you, this is in response to Miss Rachel. So, this was that moment. But from Leviticus 18:22 and Leviticus 20:13, he said, "Thou shalt lay with another man, shall be stoned to death." Just saying, the chapter affirms God's perfect law when it comes to sexual matters. I mean, boy oh boy, do we love to just believe in hyperbole and hypotheticals, right? Stories. It's things that people are saying, people believe in. Like, that's actually the right thing to do. Oh, what about, no, Israel's not starving Gazans, as he posted on X. Or, I know what you're thinking, we've got to get Joe Biden out of the way so we can run against Kami. Oh my goodness, is she beatable? Biden, well, suggested, should be put in prison and or given the death penalty for crimes against America. That was the president at the time, man. That's... I'm quoting, by the way. That's not... No. No, we're not... I mean, even... I think he even hit... He said before that... Well, or no, maybe not him, but there's someone that said recently that obviously it's worse to imprison someone than to give them the death penalty, which, I mean, I agree. So, I mean, I don't know. But at the same time, it's like, to cease to exist is also bad, as we see and experience every day when we just go on social media at this point, or on YouTube, so. Or if we experience it in real life. And, I mean, you do end up appreciating existence more, that's for sure. But, again, hate breeds hate, man. And boy, oh boy, I hope people do realize that the easy way and not the hard way. Because, nah, I'm being genuine. Like, that's a thing with humanity, man. It's either you learn the easy way, or you learn the hard way when it comes to issues and doing terrible things. So, I don't know, but it definitely doesn't seem to bode well for a lot of the people, no matter what side of the aisle that you're on, because the pendulum is swinging back sooner or later. So, there's it's a lot of hate out there right now. But please don't be like that. Please have debates. Please actually have conversations over these things. Be civil. And if not, then Jesus Christ. I don't know, man. Just, yep, I'm done. Friggin' take the time to figure things out for yourself. Stop drinking the Kool-Aid, the orange flavored Kool-Aid. It is what it is. So, Jesus Christ, even that was long. Whatever. Bye bye. Until next time, we'll do something else. Because, I mean, if they go after free speech or whatever, and they're doing the things that they're doing now, over just not even like mourning enough, I guess. I don't even know, man. The amount of chaos from the misunderstandings that's going on is truly, truly scary. Scarily scary. So, all we can do is try to educate people to actually give a shit about existence and to do the right thing and to, you know, not make the worst possible decisions of your lives. So, bye bye.